Alright, student, welcome back to e-commerce course. And now we're reaching the last chapter of the course. This chapter is about the electronic commerce payment system. Okay, let's start it. Okay, so first of all, let's break down into simple terms. Imagine that you're choosing how to pay for something online, maybe shopping on Shopee or sending money to a friend. So there are a lot of payment methods like PayPal, and some of the methods become so much popular while the others don't, right? So here's why. First, because independence. Okay, so it means that um, the payment system works on its own. Okay, not tied to just one bank or app. Okay, and then interoperability and portability means it's flexible. You can use it across different platforms or even countries. Okay, and then the security, yeah, it's obvious. No one wants their money stolen. And then anonymity, it matters if you don't want others tracking your purchases. And then divisibility means that you can pay small or large amount easily. And then ease of use, yeah, it's if it's too complicated, people won't bother. And then transaction fees, nobody likes extra charges. And then international support is the key for buying from overseas like Amazon. And finally, the regulations, the rules must be fair and clear. And PayPal succeeded because it nailed most of these factors. Okay. Okay, now let's talk about paying online with cards. You've probably done this million times on Shopee or Netflix, or maybe doing a shopping at the shopping mall, right? And the payment card is just any electronic card, okay, electronic card, a physical or digital that lets you to buy stuff. And there are three main type. The first is credit cards. It's like a Visa, MasterCard. You borrow money from the bank and then pay it back later, maybe with interest. Okay. And then charge card. Okay. It's like American Express. You must pay the full bill every month. Okay. And then debit cards. The money comes straight from your bank account. Okay. Like your ATM card with a shopping superpower. Okay, so let's break down how the online card payment works. It's like a magic, but yeah, it's actually with more steps. When you buy something online, okay, let's say on Amazon or PC Home, your payment goes through two key phrases. Okay, the first is the authorization. This is the quick check to see if your card is valid and has enough money. It's like check the store asking, "Hey bank, can this person pay 1,000 NT dollars?" And then the bank will reply yes or no in seconds. Okay. And then settlement. After the approval, the actual money moves from your account to the sellers. Okay. But this can take a day or two actually. Yeah. And there are three basic configurations for processing online payments. Okay. The first is DIY, or we can also say own the software, own the payment software. You build or you buy your own payment system, like coding a checkout page yourself. This is expensive and complicated. Okay. And then use a POST, point of sale system operated by the acquirer. Okay, it's run a system, POST from a bank. Use a ready-made tool from a bank, like your local ATM's company. It's easier, but you're stuck with that bank's rules. Okay, and then hire a middleman. Okay, PSP. Okay, payment service provider. We use a service like Stripe or PayPal. They connect your shop to any bank, handle security, and even support Visa or MasterCard. Okay. So the last one is the most convenient because they are fast, they're cheap, and do the hard work. And also, the most important thing is they take a small fee. Okay. Okay, now let's talk about credit card fraud. How the shop stop bad guys from the stealing your money online. Okay, so imagine you're buying a concert ticket on a website. How how does the site know you are really you? They use two smart tools. The first is the address verification system or AVS. When you type your billing address, the system check if it match what your bank has. Okay. And then the second one is doing a manual review. So sometimes a real person double checks suspicious orders, like a teacher spotting a copy homework, okay, something like that. And then the next one is the fraud screen and automated decision models. Okay, so it's like robot detective that analyze your purchase. The next one is the CVN, the card verification number. Okay, the three digits code on the back of your card. Okay, website asks for this to prove you have actually the physical card. If there's no code, no payment. Okay. The next one is the bank authentication. Okay, the bank authentication or the card association payer authentication service. It's a Visa or MasterCard app extra checks. Sometimes they will text you a code to confirm it's really you. Okay, and then doing a negative list, the blacklist. Shops block cards or accounts that were used for fraud before. Okay. Okay. Now smart cards. Okay. Smart cards. It's actually just a regular bank card, but with a tiny brain inside. It's called a microchip. Okay. Microchip. This chip can store and process information, which means the card can do more than just swipe or tap. Okay, for example, when you use an easy card on the MRT, it's not just checking your balance, it's updating it instantly after each ride. That's the chip doing its job. Okay, you can also find smart cards in student IDs, the health insurance card, and even the hotel room keys. They are smart because they can add, they can delete or change data depending on what you need. Okay. So next time when you tap a card, remember it's not just a plastic, it's a mini computer working behind the scenes. Okay. Okay. There are some type of smart cards. Yeah. First, we have the contact cards. They are like the old credit cards where you have to physically insert them into a card reader. And there's actually a tiny gold chip on the card that makes direct contact with the reader to transfer your data. And then we have the contactless card which are way more convenient. These are the cards you just tap or wave near the reader, like when you are rushing to catch the MRT and then you just tap your Easy Card on the sensor. And these contactless cards have a small antenna inside that communicates wirelessly with the reader. So there's no physical contact needed. Okay, and now let's talk about the reader of for the smart cards. It activates and reads the content of the chips inside the smart card. So usually just passing the information onto a host system. And this smart card operating system, they have to handle file management, the security, the input and output, and command execution, and provides an application programming interface for a smart card. Okay, so we use smart card every day, right? To retail purchase, just like what you see in the bottom photo, where someone is using their card to buy groceries or snack. This could be your credit card, your debit card, or even mobile payments through your phone when you are shopping at 7-Eleven, Carrefour, or any local store. And the second one, it's called transit fare. Okay, so this is where the Oyster card. Okay, it's like retail, sorry, transit fares. Okay, this is where the Oyster card in the top image, okay, comes in. It's an online versions of our Easy Card. So just like how you use your Easy Card to ride the MRT, to ride the buses, or even you bike here in Taiwan. So people in London tap their Oyster card to pay for the underground buses and other public transportation. And the beautiful thing about this smart card system is that they make transactions super fast and convenient. No more fumbling around for exact change or waiting for the machine to process cash. Yeah. So whether you're grabbing a quick meal between classes or taking MRT to cementing on a weekends, this smart card have basically revolutionized how we pay for things in our modern world. Okay, now let's dive in into stored value card. Okay, these are basically card that works like digital wallets where you load money into them first and then spend the balance. Okay. Uh, there are two main types you should know about it. First, we have closed loop card. These are single purpose card that you can only use at one specific store or chain. Perfect examples would be Starbucks gift card or those loyalty card that you get at your favorite bubble tea shop. You load money into it and then you can only spend at a particular business, okay? And then we have the open loop cards, which are much more flexible. These are multi-purpose cards that work like debit card and can be used at many different retailers. And your Easy Card is actually a great example of this. You can load money into it and use it not just for MRT and business, but also at convenience stores, some restaurants, and any other parking meters around in the city. And then let's talk about the e-micro payment. These are those tiny online transactions that have become a huge part of our digital lives. As you can see from the definition, we're talking about the small payments, usually under $300, NT dollars. Okay, so uh, when you buy a song on Spotify, purchase extra lifts in a mobile game, or pay a single news article online, These all called a micropayment. Okay, so under $10 US dollars or around under 3,000 300 NT dollars. Okay, there are five main models for handling these small payments. They don't rely solely on the traditional credit or debit cards. You've got aggregation, where lots of small purchases get bundled together before charging you. So the first one is the aggregation. Yes, lots of small purchases get bundled together before charging you. And then direct payment, which is exactly what it sounds like, a stored value, which work like your Easy Card, where you preload money. And then subscription, like your Netflix or YouTube premium monthly fees. And a la carte, which means you pay for each item individually as you use it. Okay, now let's talk about e-checking. Okay, e-checking is basically the digital version of those paper checks your grandparents might still use. An e-check is legally the same as a paper check, but everything happens electronically instead of on paper. Now, the magic behind this system is something called the automated clearinghouse network. Okay, think of it like a massive digital post office that handles electronic money transfer between banks across the entire country. And here's how it works. Instead of writing a physical check that someone has to physically deposit at a bank, the AH, ACH, sorry, the ACH system processes this transaction in batches, kind of like how your university might process all student fee payments together at a certain time rather than one by one throughout the day. Okay, and the cool thing about this system is that it connects all the participating banks and financial institutions. So when you pay your tuition online or set up automatic payments for your phone bill, the money can move smoothly from your bank account to the recipient account without anyone having to handle paper. Okay, and this is the process of e-check, step by step. So it's actually pretty fascinating how all these systems work together behind the scenes. So imagine you're buying something online from a merchant. Okay, you buy something online from a merchant through the internet and you decide to pay with an electronic check. First, you, the customer, submit your payment information through the internet to the merchant, right? And the merchant will send this payment request to Authorized Net, which is basically a middleman company that handles online payment processing. And this is a digital payment facilitator, okay? And Authorized Net then communicates with their partner bank called ODFI, which stands for Originating Depository Financial Institution, to initiate the transaction. And this bank then sends the payment request through the ACH network. Remember that big electronic clearing system we talked about earlier? The ACH network process the request and send it to your bank called RDFI, which is the receiving re- depository financial institution. Okay, and then your bank sends the money back to through the ACH network to complete the transfer to the merchant bank's account. Okay, and then finally everyone gets confirmation that the payments went through successfully. This whole process might take a few business days, which is why the e-check are not instant like credit card payments, but they are much cheaper to process and very secure since everything goes through the established banking system. Okay, now let's talk about mobile payment. This is probably the payment method you guys use most often in your daily lives. The mobile payment is simply any payment transactions that you start or confirm using your smartphone or your phone. And now there's a specific type called mobile proximity payment. That's really cool. These are payments you make when you're physically present at the store or using transportation services. Um, think about when you use your phone to pay at 7-Eleven or tap your phone on the MRT turnstile or even pay for your lunch at the campus cafeteria. Here's the technical magic behind it. The proximity payments work through the special mobile phones that have either an integrated chip or a smart card built in, along with a specialized reader that can detect when your phone's chip comes within a short distance of it. You probably noticed that you need to hold your phone really close to the payment terminals, right? Usually just a few centimeters away for it to work. This short range communication uses technologies like NFC, it's near field communication, to securely transfer your payment information from your phone to the merchant's payment system. It's the same technology to that makes Apple Pay, Google Pay, Line Pay, and those mobile payments app on your phones work so smooth and quickly. Okay, now let's talk about mobile remote payments, which work completely different from those proximity payments that we just discussed. So with remote payment, you don't need to be physically present at the store or tap your phone or anything. Okay? Instead, everything happens through text message or apps over your phone's data connection. So first of all, you will set up accounts with a mobile payment service provider. We call it as MPSP for short. Okay, so it's like company like PayPal, Venmo, or here in Taiwan, service like Line Pay or P Wallet when used for remote transactions. When you want to buy something online or send money to a friend, you select what you want to purchase and the merchant requests the payment, and then you simply send a text message or use a command in the app to the MPSP with the dollar amount and the recipient's mobile phone number. You can see this on the image where someone is clearly using their phone to send money requests. Okay, and this could be splitting dinner bill with friends, paying your share of the group gift, or buying something online from a merchant who accept mobile payments. So the whole transaction happens remotely without any physical contact between devices, which makes it super convenient for online shopping or sending money to people who are not physically near you. Okay, now let's see what happens after you send the payment request. This is where the security and confirmation process kicks in. Once the MPSP receive your payment, they don't just process immediately. They send a message back to you asking for confirmation and your uh, PIN number, which is crucial security step to make sure that it's really you making the transaction. And then receive this confirmation request on your phone and then enter your PIN to authorize the payment. So after the MPSP received uh, the PIN verifies your PIN, the actual money transfers begin. They move the money from your linked account, whether that's your credit card or bank account, into the receiver account. Okay? And at the same time, they debit or subtract the amount from your account at the MPSP. Okay? So finally, everything is complete. Both you and the receiver get confirmation message sent to your phones, and your account balance with the MPSP is updated to reflect the transaction. Okay, now we're shifting gears to talk about the B2B electronic payments. Okay, that's the business to business payments, which is how companies pay each other rather than how you, as the customer, make purchase. Okay, so the main system here is called EIPP, which stands for Enterprise Invoice Presentment and Payment. It's basically a fancy way of saying presenting and paying business invoice online. So instead of companies mailing a paper invoice back and forth and writing physically checks like they used to do, everything now happens digitally through secure online platforms. So now there are three main models for this how it works. First, there's a seller direct model where the company selling something, like a supplier manage their own online invoice and send the bills directly to the business customer. And then you have the buyer direct model where the large companies set up their own payment portals and tell all their suppliers, hey, submit your invoice through our system, something like that. And finally, there's the consolidator model where a third-party companies act as the middleman and handles invoice processing for multiple businesses. Okay, kind of like how a payment processing company might handle credit card transactions for many different stores. Okay, now let's look at the different payment options that business can use within this EIPP system. Think of this as the various payment methods, okay, that companies have when they need to pay each other. First up is the ACH network, which we've already talked about. That's the electronic system that process payment between bank account, and just like the e-checks for business. Then we have the purchasing card or P cards for short, and these are special purpose payment cards that companies give to their employees specifically for buying work related stuff like office supplies, equipment, or services, and they usually come with the preset spending limits to keep things under control. And the next is the FitWire or wire transfer, which is basically the business world's version of sending money instantly. It's like when your parents need to transfer a large amount of money quickly and securely, but for companies, if it's often used for big time sensitive payments. And then finally, there's the letter of credit, which is more traditional but still very important method. This is essentially a written a promise from a bank that says we guarantee this company will pay the seller once certain documents are provided. Okay, so letter of credits are especially common in international trade because they provide security for both the buyer and the seller when they are dealing with large transactions across different countries. And each of these methods serves different business needs depending on the factors like speed, security, transaction size, and the international requirement. All right, everyone, do you have any question? If you have any question, just post it on the discussion forum or discussion forum, which is the title student questions. Okay, so that's it. I will see you in the final report presentation. Okay, good luck. Goodbye.